Hello everyone, welcome to my presentation. My name is Erica Munoz, and today I'm going to be guiding you through a comparative analysis of two policy memos from our coursework. The aim of this presentation is to explore what makes a compelling academic paper. Today I'm going to be discussing two memos. First, we'll explore the one I found to be the most compelling, which I'll refer to here on out as the Prop 47 memo. This memo examines the impact of Proposition 47 on crime rates and prison populations in California. On the other hand, I'll be discussing the memo I found to be the least compelling, which I'll refer to here on out as the racial profiling memo. This memo focuses on racial profiling and traffic stops, specifically within the city of Oakland. Just to provide you with a bit of an overview, we'll go through the 5 key points of each memo, and then we'll reflect on why I thought the Prop 47 memo stood out to me more than the racial profiling memo. I do hope that this presentation offers you insights into what makes a strong academic paper, which can hopefully assist you in your own research and learning. Now, we'll dive into the 5-point summaries. Before we dive into the details of each study, here's a quick overview of the 5 questions that guided my analysis of the policy memos. Again, these are also the questions that guided your own analysis as well. So just as a quick reminder, what is the big problem this paper addresses? What specific question does this paper seek to answer? What data do the authors use, and what do they do with the data? What do the authors find? Are their findings convincing? Why or why not? And how do the findings change our understanding of the big problem? All right, so let's begin with the Prop 47 memo, which assesses the impact of Proposition 47 on crime rates in California. So first, taking a look at the big problem addressed, this memo examines whether reducing prison populations can be achieved without compromising public safety. This question is pretty critical given the high cost of incarceration and its implications for social justice. Second, the specific question concerns whether Proposition 47 led to increases in violent and property crimes. Not sure how many of you are familiar with Prop 47, but Prop 47 aimed to decrease the state's prison population by reclassifying certain offenses from felonies to misdemeanors. So again, this is looking to further examine the effect of that policy. Third, regarding the data and methodology, the researchers utilized a comprehensive data set spanning from 1970 to 2015. They applied a synthetic control group approach to construct what is essentially called a counterfactual California, which allowed them to compare actual outcomes with a scenario where Proposition 47 was not enacted. Now, for the key findings, the research indicated that Proposition 47 did not significantly impact violent or most property crime rates, although there was a moderate rise in larceny and motor vehicle thefts. These findings, while notable, do not significantly impact the overall conclusions. Fifth, the impact on our understanding. The Proposition 47 research challenges the belief that reducing prison populations inevitably leads to higher crime rates. It shows that significant downsizing can occur without compromising public safety, which further offers critical insights for policymakers that wish to pursue a balanced criminal justice reform. Okay, so now we're going to turn our attention to the racial profiling memo. First, taking a look at the big problem addressed, the study addresses the important issue of racial profiling and traffic stops, which is a major concern for both communities and law enforcement. By focusing on Oakland, which is a city that is diverse and, with known tensions around policing, the research seeks to understand whether traffic stops disproportionately target minority groups. Second, the specific question concerns whether racial bias influences these stops using the veil of darkness approach. So this method helps determine if police may be biased in their decisions to stop drivers when they can see a person's race in daylight compared to nighttime when it's much harder to see. So by checking for changes in stop patterns from day to night, This study essentially aims to uncover any potential bias based on race. Third, regarding the data and methodology, the researchers looked at traffic stop data from the Oakland Police Department starting in mid-2003. So, by comparing the rates of stops during daylight and nighttime, they were able to assess whether the visibility of a driver's race had any influence on stop patterns. Now, for the key findings, the study didn't find strong evidence of racial profiling. This does suggest that racial bias might not have been a major factor in deciding who got stopped during the study period. And now, fifth, the impact on our understanding. These findings make us rethink the common assumptions about racial bias in traffic stops. They hint that other factors might be at play, so further investigation is needed. This further invites policymakers and law enforcement to consider and investigate these other influences, which could lead to more just and effective policing strategies. All right, let's move on to the comparative reflection, most versus least compelling. I'll be talking about two policy memos, one that really grabbed my attention and one that didn't quite hit the mark for me. I'll share what I identified as the key factors that made each stand out or fall short. I do think that this will help us get a clearer picture of what makes academic work impactful. So let's take a closer look. So I'm a pretty visual person, so I created this table to highlight the three important areas I identified as making a paper more compelling. So the novelty of insights, the rigor of methodology used, and how well they apply to policy. So I do think that the Prop 47 paper excels by providing fresh insights, utilizing rigorous methodology, and demonstrating strong policy relevance. On the other hand, the racial profiling paper doesn't quite measure up, in my opinion, as I do think it lacks new perspectives. The methodology comes with limitations, and it struggles to effectively connect its findings to policy applications. So, with this overview in mind, I'll dive deeper into each of these criteria to explain why the Prop 47 paper is more successful and where the racial profiling paper falls short. So before we get into the specifics, I want to share why I'm particularly interested in Prop 47. So this reason was not listed on the table, but it does have some relevance, so I thought I'd go ahead and share. But I do have about 4 years of experience working on Prop 47 funded projects. So this topic really connects with my professional experiences. I think that having this background also helps me appreciate the important issues it covers. Now, let's take a look at what makes a paper stand out. Moving on to the three main criteria. Novelty of insights. So I do think the research offers new insights into how recent changes like Prop 47 affect community safety by reducing prison populations. I also think it challenges what many people thought they knew, and it brings fresh ideas to discussions about justice reform. Also, being such a recent initiative, I think that Prop 47 helps us look at the issue in a new way, and it opens the doors for new conversations and future ideas, which I also think makes this paper an exciting and unique read. Moving on to methodology, this study utilized a rigorous and innovative approach, which enhances the credibility of its results. By using a method known as synthetic control, researchers were able to create a highly reliable comparison group that closely mirrors the conditions of California after Proposition 47. And this is without actually undergoing the policy change. So I think that this rigorous approach establishes, a high benchmark for policy evaluation. And I think it's important for ensuring that, findings are sound and credible. Finally, moving on to policy relevance, I think that the findings in the memo are highly applicable to today's conversations around criminal justice reform. I also think that they offer practical insights that policymakers can use And I think that's what makes this paper a valuable asset for, crafting informed decisions. So now, moving on to the least compelling. With respect to novelty of insights, I think that the racial profiling paper doesn't quite bring anything new to the table. I think it goes over issues that we're already pretty familiar with. Prop 47, on the other hand, I think it dives into some fresh and current questions about public safety and justice reform. So I do think it gives us something genuinely new to think about. In terms of methodology, I think that there are some limitations with how the racial profiling study was conducted, which makes its findings a bit harder to apply universally. I think it sticks to more traditional methods, unlike the Prop 47 study, which I think uses a more creative and rigorous approach that ultimately really enhances its credibility and I believe makes its results more broadly relevant. With respect to policy application, while the racial profiling paper does raise important issues regarding, racial equity and law enforcement practices, I do think it offers fewer concrete policy solutions compared to the Proposition 47 analysis. I think that the Prop 47 paper, in my opinion, provided more actionable insights that are directly applicable to ongoing debates in criminal justice reform, whereas I think that the racial profiling paper leaves many questions open without really any immediate solutions. So let's take another look at the table to wrap up our discussion. It paints a clear picture of how each memo measures up against the criteria I've discussed. So the Prop 47 paper really stands out with its fresh insights, rigorous approach, and strong ties to policy changes. On the other hand, the racial profiling paper, while important, doesn't quite bring new ideas, has methodological limitations, and it does not really focus on providing actionable solutions. This table serves as a visual guide to why Prop 47 is more compelling. I think it highlights the importance of challenging usual thinking, using rigorous methods, and suggesting practical solutions. So I think it's important to keep these elements in mind as you go forward with your own research or policy writing. I do think it's this kind of thoughtful approach that makes work more impactful and more meaningful. And this brings us to the end of my video. Thank you so much for watching, and as you reflect on the content, I'm excited to hear your thoughts and insights, probably areas where I was on point and maybe areas where I may have missed the mark. So I'm really looking forward to any feedback, and congrats on, finishing up the quarter. Take care, everyone. Bye.